Baby number 3. This video, I'm gonna be answering all of your questions. I feel like 80% of the questions was baby number 3 planned? Because we just don't not try. Does that make sense? Do we have any fears about 3 under 3? What would I tell my former self? We're waiting for Micah, knowing what I know now. Oh my goodness. Wow. We are here. We are here again. Can you even believe it, you guys? Baby number 3. Third baby, 3 under 3. If you would have told me the year or over a year we were trying for a baby, that we would have 3 babies in under 3 years, I would have thought you had lost your mind. I would have thought you were crazy. Like, I don't know if my faith would have been at that level yet. But we're here and we're so grateful. We are so thankful. This video, I'm gonna be answering all of your questions, hopefully everything that you wanna know. And then I also wanna talk to my girls or my guys out there who might still be in that waiting season and give you some hope as well. I also wanna talk to my other women out there who are pregnant because, oh my goodness gracious, when we announced that we were pregnant, the amount of you who have literally gone through multiple pregnancies with me or are pregnant for the first time this go around and you're due like late summer into fall, it is wild how many of us are all pregnant together. So that is so much fun. Before we get into all of the things, first and foremost, welcome back to our channel. It is just me today because we're talking all things first trimester and pregnancy, and Chad's out of town. And so we're in it, we're doing it together. And also, before we jump in, I do wanna thank the sponsor of this video. We love Hillsdale College so much. Y'all know this, but today I actually started a new course. I'm doing the Genesis story, which if y'all were watching last month, I went through, well, the last 2 months, it took me like 2 months to kind of go through the whole course on the Exodus story. I went back. So like the Genesis story obviously comes before Exodus, but I started with Exodus. And so now I'm going back to do the Genesis story. And I did the intro and lesson 1, and it was talking about Adam and Eve and the knowledge of good and evil. And there was so much packed into lesson 2 specifically. Guys, I can't tell you how many times I've read the story of Adam and Eve. Like I grew up a believer. I have heard this story since I was a child, and I don't think it ever actually fully occurred to me that they had no knowledge of what was good or what was evil prior to eating the fruit off the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And that whole just like mind-boggling fact of the more you actually fully understand about the knowledge of evil, the more you understand the knowledge of good, and the way he like went about it. I'll just play you a little clip right here.
Why would God create something good, that is the knowledge of good and evil, and then tell them no, and tell them no in perpetuity? So often we focus on just the knowledge of evil because of the shame they feel. But what about the good? What about the knowledge of good? Would their knowledge of God not even be heightened at this moment if they ate of it, since God is the very source of good? I think this is maybe what we start to come to understand, is that there is a double source of knowledge here. It is a knowledge of good and evil. In this text, the evil is that consciousness of transgression and that consciousness of shame, but the shame comes from the very moment they eat of that tree and are exposed even more to that goodness. It's a double exposure here. The more they're exposed to the good, the more shame they're going to feel. Each piece of that knowledge feeds off of one another.
just incredibly, incredibly, incredibly insightful. And I always glean so much from each and every lesson that Hillsdale College offers. They have more than 40 free classes. And so I will make sure to leave that link below if you are wanting to dive deep for free. For free. There's literally nothing you can lose. I'm promising you that if you take one free lesson, you will actually like have that aha moment and understand why Chad and I are so obsessed and thankful for Hillsdale College. So once again, www.hillsdale.edu/masters. It will be linked below. Thank you, Hillsdale, for sponsoring this portion of the video. We love you, so thankful for you. Anyways, let's get into these questions. Okay. I'm going through these questions, and I will say the number one most frequently asked question, I feel like 80% of the questions was baby number 3 planned? And guys, I don't know whether to say planned or not, because we just don't not try. Does that make sense? We just don't prevent. We are just like completely open-handed to whatever God has for our family. And we're very aware of how babies are made, and that is a blessing inside of marriage, and that children are a blessing. And so if the Lord wants to bless our family with children, we are thrilled and so beyond excited. Now, the question, was I shocked? Did I think I was pregnant? Did I know? There's a couple funny stories with that. So was I shocked? Yes. But also, if you watch the reaction video of me finding out, I just had this like feeling. And it wasn't because I felt sick. Like, I didn't feel sick. I did not have any weird symptoms. I didn't even necessarily like feel like I was about to start my period. I just had this interesting feeling inside of me that I was like, I don't know, I just feel like we might be pregnant. And I will say the only thing that maybe got in my head was I never really fully understood, this is kind of TMI, so sorry for the guys out there. I feel like some girls really know, just like through bodily stuff when they're ovulating. I've never really been like able to tell. Like, that's just not, unless I was like testing my ovulation, like I feel like I did back in the day when we were like trying, and that never even worked for me or for us. But this go around, I'm not gonna lie, we like literally had sex, and then I went to the bathroom and I could like tell that I was ovulating. And so there was like something in me that was like, did I just get pregnant? Like there was like this interesting, like I've never kind of had that experience before, but I just remember like doing the thing and then going to the bathroom and being like, I'm pretty sure I'm ovulating. Like you can just like tell. And so I did have that lingering kind of question in my mind, because I was just like aware that we had sex during ovulation. And so maybe that played into why I was feeling like maybe I was, but there was just some other like little gut God things that were going on that I don't know, just like made me question whether or not I was. And then I was kind of shocked, like leading up to taking the test, how much I was hoping that I was pregnant. Because if I'm being totally transparent and totally honest, if we had found out like 1 month before, I think that my reaction would have been a little bit more overwhelmed. We were still in the other house. There was all of those mold issues. There was just so much going on. And there was something that shifted when we moved to the apartment, like this weight, I just have felt so much lighter, and there's been like a different level of joy in our home and in our family. And I don't know, I really think that maybe my reaction would have been totally different, because I remember starting my period literally the day we moved to the apartment. And so, yeah, I'm not really sure. So like, yes, I was shocked. Was it planned? No. I hope that answers your question, because that's really all I got for you. In what ways has this pregnancy been the same or different than the previous two? So I will say it's been different, but it's been the same. Like, I have not been as sick this go around, and that is like truly, I feel like, by the grace of God. I only threw up 2 times, and that was not because I was like morning sickness. Oh my goodness, I feel so nauseous. I have to like go curl up in the bathroom and just like wait to throw up. It was literally, I was eating something and it grossed me out, and I just immediately, like, my body was like, reject. And that happened 2 times. And that has happened to me both pregnancies, specifically when I'm eating eggs. And I eat eggs like almost every single day, but if I eat like 1 bite too many, my body's thinking about the fact that I'm eating eggs, and then I immediately get grossed out, and then I literally have to throw them up. And it's so strange, and it only happens in pregnancy. And that happened 2 times, but that's the only 2 times I've thrown up this pregnancy, which is like wild to me because I was definitely more sick the last 2. I still had nausea in the morning, but I feel like because I knew what worked for me with my boys, I just immediately got the things I knew that worked for me. I'll link everything below, but there's one like homeopathic nausea. They're like these little pellet things you put under your tongue. And then Milena sent me a link for this other one that's like literally for pregnancy morning sickness. And then actually it's like 2 weeks after I found out I'm pregnant. This has happened all of my pregnancies around that like 5 to 6 week pregnant mark. The thought of hot coffee in the morning is so gross. Like, cannot think about it, cannot smell it. Ugh, I cannot first trimester with hot coffee. And then later in the afternoon, I can like maybe do an iced coffee in first trimester. I'm currently 17 weeks pregnant, which is wild. So now I'm like back drinking hot coffee and loving it, and it's great. But in the mornings, something that really helped with my nausea in all of my pregnancies was drinking orange juice. Not sure why that's super helpful. I think it has folic acid or something in there that is supposedly good for nausea. But for me, having orange juice and an apple in the morning right when I wake up, it just helped a lot. And then if I was still feeling nauseous, I would take the morning sickness pill, or the little, I think it's called like Nux Vomica or something like that. And that was really, really helpful for me. Other than that, I really didn't do much because I really honestly have felt pretty good, which is just, I'm counting as God's grace. Praise the Lord. Oh, someone said, will this be your last baby if it was up to you? No. If you've been here for a while, we've always said that we want 4 babies. And then we're also open to adoption later. We want a really big family. We have always wanted a big family. We talked about that when we were dating. Like we've always said 4, but what's funny is like we have 2, we have a 3rd coming, and there's just something in me that's like, whatever God wants. Like, I really don't feel like there's like this like hard stop button in me right now. I feel like it is such a joy to have children, to give them the blessing of siblings and like lifelong friends. And we've like stepped into the season where Noah and Micah are starting to play with each other and play together. And it is so fun. And honestly, I feel like it makes parenting easier with them like kind of entertaining each other. And I feel like as they grow up, that's just gonna get even better and even sweeter. I think there's actually a question in there about, am I nervous with the more children that we have that I won't be able to like spend quality time with each? And that is just not a fear that I have. I feel like Chad and I are very intentional people. And so we will very much make intentional time for each of our children. But I also feel like it is just such a blessing for them to have these other siblings to play with and be creative with and have games with. And it's like an everyday play date all the time. I'm like, what a blessing. I had a little brother, and loved it, but I always gravitated towards big families and being a part and being around big families. There's just something about the dynamic that Chad and I both have like been so drawn to. And so that's always what we've wanted to create for our family. And something we always talk about too is trying to think about when we're like 50 and 60 years old, like how do we picture the family table? And we hope that we have the home with all the children and the spouses and the grandchildren and just like a hub of love, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't think it gets any sweeter, any better than that. So, okay, next is what am I doing differently to prep for baby? And I don't really think I'm doing anything differently except for like not thinking about it as much. I feel like with this being the third go around, like so quickly after my previous two babies, it just feels like, oh, it's another round. As of now, everything looks good. Baby looks good. We are planning on doing another home birth. We should be in our house fairly-ish soonish, like probably early May. So we'll have a couple of months to kind of get settled and get adjusted and prep for another home birth. The only thing, because I did get this question too, will I be doing anything differently when it comes to home birth? Something that I think I'm gonna do differently is not get in the bathtub until after transition. And so if you don't know what transition is, it's like, I think, I could be wrong, but it's like between like that 8 centimeters, 9 centimeters mark, like when you're about to start pushing, you're transitioning from like that really, really crazy active labor to like, okay, baby is like ready and we're about to get ready to push. Transition is always the hardest part of my labors. And I have been in the bathtub both times pre-transition, and every time it has really like slowed down my progress to the point that I was like, should I just not even try for a water birth ever again? Because it just always slows me down and it hasn't worked out either one of my last times. But then someone told me it's like after transition, when you're like literally about to push baby out, then get in the bathtub and try it. So we'll see, okay? We will see. I'm gonna continue praying about it and see if that's what ends up happening. I don't know, okay? But in my head right now, I'm not gonna get in the bathtub until like, it's like time. And when you know it's time, you know it's time. Pretty much if they have to ask me like, do you feel like you can push? It's not time for me. I definitely get to the point where it's like fetal eject. Like I cannot help but push baby. Then let's get in that bathtub. So we'll see. And then the question that you guys all want to know, but I do not want to show you my face. I'm trying not to have any inflection in my voice, anything, but the most asked question is, do we know the gender? The answer is yes. Will we be sharing? Yes. And that's all I'm saying right now. Okay, another question was, did I get my period back? How long did I nurse Noah, like before getting pregnant? So it's actually pretty funny because it was like deja vu with both boys. Both boys, I had a pretty hard time breastfeeding. It was just not an easy journey for me. I'll link a video above where I kind of share about my breastfeeding journey with Noah. I'm pretty sure I cried a lot, but it just was tough for me. Both boys, I started weaning them around 5 months, and then by the time we started introducing solids at 6, we were kind of fully weaned off of breastfeeding. And then I would get my period back like right at that 6-month-ish mark. And then I had my period around 6 months, period around 7 months, and then pregnant around 8 months postpartum, which is hilarious. And now looking back, I know girls get pregnant all the time while still breastfeeding, but there is this part of me that always felt like and this is just so, I talk about that in this video too, but I just hate the narrative around like your breastfeeding journey isn't quote unquote successful if you don't make it a certain amount of time. Annoys me. But that's kind of how I felt both times. Like, and I had to wrestle with that, and I had to talk to God about that and all of the things. And looking back, it just like gave my body time, I feel like, to wean off breastfeeding, have a couple periods, and then be pregnant again. And now I just look at it as a blessing and just part of my personal journey. And it's just fun that these children will be the exact same age gap. Like I think that is so cool. Okay, food cravings. I feel like I honestly like have more aversions than cravings first trimester. It's just like you ask me if I want something and it's just like, oh, I definitely don't want that right now. But one thing that I found super, super kind of gross and random, and not gross, it's actually pretty good, but like I really wanted canned chicken, like canned white breast chicken with mayo and salt. Don't at me, don't judge me. It's just like kind of like chicken salad, okay? Just a little mayo, a little salt, and like some shredded chicken. And I just found that so yummy. And I remember eating it like 4 days in a row, and then I couldn't eat it anymore. But like, I definitely craved it. That, and then during pregnancies for me, smoothies and fruit are just always like refreshing and good. And it's probably because I'm terrible at drinking water. So I'm gonna drink some right now since I'm talking about it. And a toxic trait that I have is when I'm really thirsty, I go for fruit versus water. And so I feel like I definitely consume more fruit and smoothies and drinks in general when I'm pregnant, because I am thirsty, which is my body telling me I need more water. And so I'm trying, you guys, but that's a me issue, okay? It's a me issue. But also what's funny is every pregnancy, like when my water breaks, I have so much liquid, like more than normal, the midwives say. Like when my water breaks, it like continues breaking literally until baby comes, like so much water. So I never have like, baby's fine. I don't know where all the liquid's coming from, but maybe it's just pulling it from like every food source I take. I don't really know. Does Micah realize that you have a baby in your belly? He does. He's been kissing baby and playing with baby and rubbing baby. And it's kind of become like part of our nightly routine. I lay in bed with him and we snuggle, and I'm like, do you want to talk to baby? And he'll be like, and he'll like lift my shirt up and pet my belly and like hug baby. And it's so cute. He's so cute. This is like the most fun stage. He's just been so much fun. Oh, love that kid. Another question, kind of back to breastfeeding. Will I breastfeed again this time? Yes, I will do my best and we'll see how it goes, but I definitely won't put as much pressure on myself. I don't think I'll give myself like a quote unquote goal to hit. I feel like both times, last time I was like, well, I hope I at least feed for this many months. And I think just going into this next third baby, I just won't put that pressure on myself and we'll just go with the flow. I will definitely continue with like a lactation consultant. I loved mine last go around. Other than that, we'll see. I'll keep y'all posted. I love this question, but this is probably not the response that you are expecting. All true struggles: exhaustion, body image, any subconscious resentment towards Chad? No, 0 resentment, all excitement. Yes, he was a little bit more quote unquote ready before I was, but it's funny because I was ready right before we took the test and found out we were pregnant, which is funny. But he always like has ideas that I end up coming around to a little bit later. He's just like an earlier adopter than me. So 0 resentment, again, all excitement, all love, all joy. Body image stuff. I love being pregnant. I do think that that first trimester, when you just look bloated, you're just like, oh, sometimes it's just hard to find like clothes that you feel good in when the jeans, especially third, I just popped faster. Like I just couldn't get in my jeans a lot quicker. So like finding clothes I felt good in was a little bit harder. But as soon as like the belly starts showing, I'm obsessed. Like I really do like love, I'm one of those girls who like loves being pregnant. Until like probably week 38, 39, 40, when I'm like, okay, all right, this is uncomfortable now. But second trimester is probably just the best, and that's where I'm at right now. And so love it. Exhaustion for sure, for sure. I have 2 boys that are 2 and almost 1 years old. So I think that comes with the territory. But at the same time, I just love being their mom, and it's just part of it, right? But I drink my coffee, and I can tell you one thing. When I wake up before the boys and I have some time with Jesus, I do feel like I just have more energy throughout the day. And I just believe that that's him sustaining me. All glory, all glory. Oh, okay, last question, because I got it a couple times in a couple different ways, but do we have any fears about 3 under 3? Okay? I will say some fears have definitely creeped in, just more of like, oh my goodness, we're outnumbered. Typically it's like, you got one, I got the other. What happens when there's only 2 of us? But I feel like those fears have been quickly just squashed with the overwhelming joy of growing our family. And also, I feel like we do have help. We have an amazing babysitter. She comes and helps us 3 days a week for a couple of hours, and that's been such a blessing. That's literally how I'm filming this video right now. And our moms, like Chad's mom and my mom, they will literally come and visit anytime we ask. They love their babies, their grandbabies, and we just have a village here. And that's why we moved to Tennessee. Like, I know so many moms with multiple children, and I'm sure that like the first year or 2 with 3 under 3, like it's probably gonna be a bit of a blur, and I know that we'll run into some struggles, and I'm very aware that the sleep will be lacking in the beginning, but I also know that it's just worth it. And most things in life that are worth it, they come with a little bit of hardship, but this is what we prayed for. And this lesson, I think I may have talked about this, but I will end. Oh, actually there's one more thing that I do want to say before we end too. So scratch that, not the last thing I'm going to say. Most of the time, any blessing, not most of the time, I'm pretty sure like all the time, any blessing also comes with responsibility, right? The blessing of a home, the responsibility to steward and clean your home, etc. The blessing of children, we got to raise your children, you got to clean the diapers, you're going to experience lack of sleep. The blessing of a spouse, well, guess what? You have to serve, you have to die to yourself, you have to compromise. There's so many things, right? But it's like, but these are blessings. And if we just look at the responsibility portion of the blessing as a burden, that's not good, right? We have to look at the blessing with the responsibility to steward that blessing as a joy and an honor and a way to worship the Lord and thank him for what he's doing, right? And so how can we just reframe our thought process when it comes to the responsibilities that come alongside the blessings that we prayed for? Okay, and then the last thing that I do want to share is someone asked me, what would I tell myself, like my former self, in the season of waiting, when we were waiting for Micah, knowing what I know now? And the first thing that came to mind is believe the best of God. It's advice that we give newly married couples all the time because it's advice we receive, but it's believe the best in your spouse. And I think so often in the season of waiting, it's hard to believe the best of God. We feel like he's keeping something from us, or why aren't you giving me what I desire? Didn't you place this desire in me? And we like make God the bad guy instead of looking at God as he's our protector, he's our provider, he's our everything. And so, Lord, what are you trying to teach me in this season? I believe that if I'm in the waiting, there's a reason why I'm in the waiting. So what are you doing in the waiting that I'm missing? Would you open my eyes to that? And I think about that with my children all the time, because when they're waiting for food that they really want, and it's really hot, right? And it's just like, no, mommy is making you wait out of protection, because if I give it to you right now, it's gonna burn you. It's too hot. You're not ready for it, okay? It's not ready for you. And so there's always something in the season of waiting that we can be learning, but also believe the best of God. Maybe he's protecting you in some way because he is your protector. I just know that he's always doing something in the background that we can't see. And so having eyes to maybe see that, or even asking him, like, Lord, what are you trying to teach me in the season of waiting, even though I know it's hard, and that's okay too. You can be honest with God. You can bring him your feelings. You can bring him your hurt. You can share with him your desire and know that he knows and he's with you, and he cries with you, and he empathizes with you, and he carries you through it, right? And he has a plan, and his plan is so much greater than any plan that you can design for yourself. And so trusting him at his word, believing the best of him, that's probably what I would tell myself. So hope that was encouraging. Also, don't forget to check out all of those free Hillsdale courses in the link below. We love them. It is www.hillsdale.edu/masters. I'm doing the Genesis story if you want to do it with me. Highly, highly, highly recommend. I think that's the end of this video. If y'all have any additional questions, etc., make sure to leave them in the comments below. I love you guys. We have so many fun videos coming out for you. I think the next one is us telling our parents and friends and getting all of their reactions, because those were really fun. And stay tuned. Love y'all. Make sure that you have your notification bells on. If you're new here, would be honored if you subscribe, join the Masters Fam community, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.